Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope y'all having a good week. Everybody's been able to maybe get back on the water some. Weather's starting to warm up for us a little bit. Days are getting longer. A lot of rain, at least where I live. But this time of year, it's pretty much the norm. I'm going to go over my 5 baits for the month of March that I know I'm going to have tied on and I'm going to get the most use out of. These are the baits that, for me, March is a crazy month because the fish are thinking about spawning. They want to be shallower. So the conditions change from day to day with the weather. The days getting longer and the fish's mood and as the water's warming up. So there can be changes from day to day. Heck, there can be changes from hour to hour. If you spend a lot of time on the water in March, if you every weekend you're out there, or if you're lucky enough to have a job where you can get out 2 or 3 days a week in the afternoons or whatever, you see how rapidly everything changes with fishing in the month of March. So the baits that work and the baits that produce bites and the baits that put them in the boat can change just as quickly as the conditions do. But I tried to figure out 5 baits that I know in March I'm going to keep in my hand a lot and going to get me bites. And these are the 5 baits. The first one is a 1/2 ounce double willow leaf spinnerbait. Now, as far as brand, I've told you guys before, I'm not loyal to any. I'm loyal to whatever I feel like I can get the most bang for my buck for, and it's gonna get me bit. This just happens to be a Strike King, 1/2 ounce. This is their Bleeding Bait series spinnerbait. It could be any 1/2 ounce. Now, I say 1/2 ounce because I try to keep the bait down in the water column just a little in March. The water's still, it's still chilly. In February, I throw more Colorado. In March, I start throwing the double willow leaf. And 1/2 ounce, primarily. I will throw the 3/8 ounce some toward the end of March. If there's still a good spinnerbait bite, I will go to a 3/8 ounce. But for the most part, it's a 1/2 ounce double willow leaf spinnerbait, and it just depends on water clarity as to what, chartreuse and white, just solid white, and if it's real stained and muddy, like a fire tiger color. 1/2 ounce willow leaf spinnerbait has, especially the last 2 or 3 years, I, like everybody else, got into the bladed jig thing, and I still throw that bladed jig a lot too. But last couple of years, I can honestly say in March especially, I have gotten better bites with a 1/2 ounce double willow leaf spinnerbait than I have even the bladed jig. But that's just for me. Bait number 2 is, and some of these baits y'all have seen me talk about before. So it's just confidence thing. Baits that I catch a lot of fish on. This next bait, I always keep 2 or 3 crankbaits tied on. I have 4 rods that I primarily keep set up. They're all 5:4 to 1 gear ratio. They're all set up for crankbaits on cranking sticks. And crankbait's just something I fish with a lot. This little crankbait right here has been hot for me since last October. And it's the Black Label Bacon in this color right here. This is, I think it's called Candy Dolphin. Chartreuse belly, light blue on top, a little orange or red on the throat. This has just been, I've caught more fish on this bait right here than I have anything else I've thrown. Didn't matter if it was one of the rivers close by here. Doesn't matter if it's at one of the lakes. The ABA, I just fished on Gaston. I caught a good part of the fish on one of these, and it was just a crawl color instead of this color. Right now, in the spring, all it seems like all spring long is constant wind and rain, lots of rain. It tends to stain up, muddy up, whether you're fishing in the lake or the river. You're gonna see a lot of stained water, and this is just a good color in stained water. That's my second bait. That's about 3 to 5 foot on 12-pound line. Another thing about this time of year, you want to cover water, more so maybe than any other time of the year, just because the fish could be literally anywhere. So most of these baits are moving baits. The third bait for me, again, one I've talked about before, the Rogue. Only 2 colors I throw: orange belly, gold side, black back, and really stained or like the tank water in a lot of the rivers around here. And this is more my lake choice. The silver, white belly, black back. As soon as the water temperature gets above 52, I start twitching that. And that's not a suspending, that's the floater. But if you can keep it down to about 2 to 3 foot. If you get your twitch and your paws, when you retrieve right, you can keep it down about 2 to 3 foot of water. I've already caught a couple of small fish on that already with the water just barely getting over 50. And as it warms up, shallow brush, lay downs, shallow cover, stumps, just about anywhere. Every day I'm going to give this bait a go because I know it catches them, and for me it catches a little bit more quality fish this time of year. As you get closer to the bed and everything becomes about that to the fish, they don't want nothing interrupting that process. And a bait that you can put there and keep there around where they don't want it to be is going to get you a lot of strikes, and it's going to get you good strikes, and it's just fun to fish with too. But it'll catch you more quality fish. The next thing is something I've just gotten into in the last 2 or 3 years, and that's I say they're bigger swim baits to me. I guess to some people they probably aren't, because a lot of people throw, a lot bigger swim baits than this. But this is one of them I like to throw. And this is the 6th Sense. It's called the Whale. And I just got a owner belly hook with the little small willow leaf spinner on it. I have not caught a lot of fish with this, but the ones I have caught have been probably my biggest fish of the spring the last 2 or 3 years. I'm not going to say I'm an expert with them, because I'm not, but the more I use them, the more I like them, and the more I'm starting to incorporate them more into my fishing year round. But in the spring, this thing has done good for me, and I ain't caught a handful of fish with it, but it's always good ones. And this is the 6th Sense Whale, and I'm not be honest with you, I cannot remember this color. I've got 3 or 4 different colors of it. The clearer the water, the more natural you can make the finish. This is one I use in a little bit more stained water, and I put that little bit of red on it. But this swim bait has been really good for me. And this is one, it's weird because this used to be something Bass Pro Shop sold a lot back in the day. Then they stopped making them, and they were real hard to find. Well, lo and behold, this year, because someone fishing in the Elite Series last year had real good luck with it, they've started selling it again, and they went up on the price. So this used to be something you could get for about $4. And now, I think they're about $8 or $9 a piece. But this thing right here, this swim bait right here, it's only about 4.5 inches long. I have caught a lot of fish with these the last 3 or 4 years. The 6th Sense swim baits I've just gotten to in the last year or two. This is one of those things I've just kind of kept, you know, kept to myself. I don't really talk about it. And I think this one is called, I think this is their blueback herring color, I think is what it's called. It doesn't look as fancy or as flashy as a lot of the other swim baits you see nowadays. But this thing has caught me a lot of fish. I just changed the hook. I always, I just changed, put a red hook on it. And that, those two swim baits, that's something else I throw again a lot in March. The last bait I'm going to talk about is one that, I did a whole video on. If you get in an area, and this can happen in March, this can, happen anytime, but it can happen in March. You get in an area and you've caught several fish, and then the bite stops. Well, the first thing I do is I pick up the old slider head. It's just a slider rig worm, 1/8 ounce head, whatever color trick worm you want to put up there. This just happens to be just regular green pumpkin, but I throw, it depends on the water color, green pumpkin magic, green pumpkin green flake, watermelon red flake. If it's real dirty water, I'll throw June bug, or black, just solid black. And red bug is another good color too. That's the red with the green flake. So these are 5 baits. I know I showed you more than 5 baits, but 5 categories of baits. Spinnerbait, shallow running crankbait, the Rogue, top water, a couple of swim baits, and the slider head. As you get closer to the spawn and they get to that point and they lock on the beds, the bait category and the bait choices change. But for March, this weekend when I go fishing, these baits right here I'm gonna throw a lot. The water in our area, when I say our area, the region we live in, is probably anywhere from, I'd say, high 40s, 48, 49. There's a river around here, close to where I live, where the water temperature recently was already as high as 56 in the backs of the cuts and the pockets. But we've had a ton of rain, and it's all, the river's just trashed right now. But the water, I guess because of the influx of water coming in, and it's just warmed up a lot. So it could be anywhere from high 40s, mid to high 50s. So I hope everybody's having a good week. I want to thank everybody that subscribed to the channel. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the likes and the comments. Soon I'm going to do a video about some of the answers to some of the questions I've gotten about different things. From some people have asked me about the reels I use, and I've gotten questions and comments about other things. Some of you guys send me some real good comments about your take on some of the things I've said and some of the baits you use. So that's, I appreciate that too. Just keep it coming. I enjoy talking about fishing. So if you got any questions or comments, and please subscribe if you haven't. I can still see, that I'm getting a lot of views, and I'm a lot of the people that have subscribed are coming back and watching my videos every time I put one out. And there's a lot of people that watch them but don't subscribe. All you gotta do is click the button. It would help me, it would help the channel, and I appreciate anyone who's been willing to do that. And again, I hope everybody has a great week. Get out this weekend, catch some fish. At least get out there just to be out there, And I appreciate everybody watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.